Her millionaire husband immediately divorced her when she found out that he had an affair, and he never knew she was pregnant for him with quadruplets until 5 years later. "Get out of my office." Scarlett's voice was ice. "Scarlett, please. The timing, their ages, their faces. My God, they look exactly like my baby pictures." I said, "Get out. You kept my children from me for 5 years. Hello, my sweethearts, my beautiful souls, my twilight lovers. Welcome back to Love and Twilight with Dr. Phillips. I hope your day has been gentle, warm, and kind to your heart. How did today treat you, my darlings? Let me know in the comments. If this space brings you comfort, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share with someone you cherish. Your love and support mean everything to me. No, Marcus, you threw us away 5 years ago, remember? The divorce papers you had ready before I even confronted you about Madison? The prenup you weaponized? The way you laughed when you said I'd get nothing? Well, congratulations, you got exactly what you wanted. Nothing. I didn't know you were pregnant. And whose fault is that? You were too busy with your 23-year-old assistant to notice your wife was throwing up every morning. Too busy planning your new life to see I was falling apart. Too busy serving me divorce papers to ask if there was anything else we needed to discuss. That conversation happened exactly 3 hours ago. But to understand how Scarlett Rivers went from broken housewife to billionaire CEO, from discarded woman to the mother who protected 4 little hearts from a father who didn't deserve them, we need to go back 5 years. Back to the night everything shattered and everything began. It was 3:47 in the morning when Scarlett found the messages. She hadn't been snooping. Marcus's phone had been buzzing incessantly on the nightstand, and she'd reached over to silence it so he could sleep. But the preview on the screen made her blood freeze. "Missing your hands on me. Last night in the conference room was incredible. Can't wait for Tokyo next week. Your wife really believes the merger story? You're brilliant, baby. Madison." Scarlett's fingers moved without her conscious thought, opening the phone with the passcode she'd known for 10 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. His birthday, because Marcus Sterling was nothing if not predictable in his narcissism. The messages went back 18 months. 18 months of lies. 18 months of business trips that weren't. 18 months of late nights at the office that were apparently very different from what she'd imagined. "I love how young you make me feel," Marcus had written. "Scarlett's let herself go, hasn't she? I saw her at the charity gala. No wonder you need me," Madison had replied. "She's convenient for the image. But you're what I really want. When are you going to leave her?" "Soon, baby. The lawyers are already working on it. Just need to move some assets around first." Scarlett set the phone down carefully. Her hands weren't shaking. Nothing was shaking. She felt like she was floating above her body, watching some other woman's life implode. She looked at Marcus sleeping beside her. 42 years old. Still handsome in that Wall Street way. The kind of man who ran 8 miles every morning and had his hair cut every 2 weeks by the same barber who charged $300. The kind of man who'd swept her off her feet 15 years ago when she was fresh out of architecture school, and he was a hungry entrepreneur with more ambition than money. "I'm going to build an empire," he'd told her on their second date, "and I want you beside me when I do it." She'd believed him. God help her, she'd believed every word. She'd given up job offers in Paris and Dubai to stay in New York with him. She'd spent her inheritance from her grandmother investing in his first company. She'd been there through the 16-hour days, the failed ventures, the moments when bankruptcy seemed inevitable. And when he'd finally made it, when Sterling Industries became a household name in tech development, when the millions turned to hundreds of millions, she'd stood beside him at every gala, every ribbon cutting, every magazine photo shoot. "Behind every successful man is a strong woman," he'd say to reporters, his arm around her waist. But apparently behind this successful man was also a 23-year-old. Personal assistant with an MBA from Wharton and a thing for married men. Scarlett got out of bed and walked to the bathroom. She stared at herself in the mirror. 38 years old. She'd gained maybe 15 pounds since their wedding day, mostly from the fertility treatments Marcus didn't know about. Her hair was still long and auburn, though she'd found a few gray strands last month. Her face showed the beginnings of laugh lines, evidence of a life lived. She wasn't 23 anymore, but she wasn't dead either. She went back to the bedroom and took Marcus's phone again. This time, she went to the photos. There they were, Madison Cross in all her young, blonde, perky glory. Pictures of them together in Tokyo, Paris, Dubai, all the places he'd gone for business. Pictures of her wearing jewelry Scarlett had never seen. Pictures of them in bed together, Madison taking selfies while Marcus kissed her neck. There was one that particularly caught her attention. Madison wearing a diamond necklace Scarlett recognized. The 10th anniversary gift Marcus had claimed was stolen from the hotel room in Barcelona. He'd filed an insurance claim. Scarlett had cried for days, not because of the necklace's value, but because of what it represented. "Ma'am, are you all right?" Scarlett turned. Their housekeeper, Rosanna, stood in the doorway. 60 years old, been with them for 8 years, probably knew more about their marriage than Scarlett realized. "Rosanna, did you know?" The older woman's face crumpled. "Mrs. Sterling, you knew. I suspected. The lipstick on his collars wasn't your shade, the perfume wasn't your scent. But it wasn't my place to say. How long?" "About a year, ma'am." "I'm so sorry." Scarlett nodded slowly. "Pack his things, all of them, every suit, every shoe, every watch. Pack it all and have it ready by the door, ma'am. And Rosanna, call Jeremy Blackwood. Tell him Scarlett Sterling needs the best divorce lawyer in New York. Tell him it's urgent." "Yes, ma'am." "And Mrs. Sterling, I've been saving evidence, photos of receipts, credit card statements he threw away, hotel bookings, just in case you ever needed them." Scarlett looked at this woman who'd been quietly protecting her and felt tears prick her eyes for the first time. "Thank you, Rosanna. You deserve better, ma'am. You always have." Scarlett waited until 6 in the morning. She showered, did her hair, put on makeup, and wore the red dress Marcus had once said made her look like a goddess. If she was going to confront him, she was going to look spectacular doing it. She made coffee and sat at the kitchen island, the printed screenshots of his messages laid out like evidence in a court case. When Marcus came downstairs at 6:30, already dressed in his $1,000 suit, he barely looked at her. "Morning," he mumbled, reaching for his coffee. "Good morning, darling. How was the conference room last night?" He froze for just a second, then recovered. "Fine." "Productive meeting about the Tokyo merger. With Madison?" "She was there, yes. She's heading up the Asian expansion. Is that what you're calling it now? Asian expansion?" Interesting euphemism for adultery. The coffee mug slipped from his hand, shattering on the marble floor. Coffee spread across the white stone like blood. "I don't know what you're talking about." Scarlett pushed the screenshots across the island. "Really? Because these messages seem pretty clear, especially the ones where you discuss leaving me, and the ones where Madison describes in detail what you did to her in various hotel rooms. Would you like me to read them aloud?" Marcus's face went through several transformations. Surprise, guilt, anger, and finally, cold calculation. "How dare you go through my phone? How dare I? How dare I? You've been sleeping with your assistant for 18 months, and you're angry that I looked at your phone. That's an invasion of privacy." Scarlett laughed, actually laughed. "Privacy? We're married, Marcus. Or did you forget that while you were invading Madison's privacy? Don't be crude." "Crude? You want to see crude?" Scarlett stood up, grabbed the remaining coffee from the pot, and threw it across his suit. The hot liquid splashed across the expensive fabric, ruining it instantly. "That's crude. What you did is betrayal." Marcus stepped back, coffee dripping from his jacket. His face had gone purple with rage. "You crazy bitch." There he is. There's the real Marcus Sterling, not the charming businessman, not the devoted husband. Just another middle-aged cliché having a midlife crisis with his secretary. "She's not my secretary. She's the chief operations officer." "Oh, I'm sorry. You're having an affair with your chief operations officer. That makes it so much better. Tell me, did you promote her before or after she started sleeping with you?" Marcus's jaw clenched. "You want to know the truth? Fine. Madison makes me feel alive. She's young and ambitious and exciting. You're just... There, your furniture, Scarlett. Comfortable, familiar furniture that I'm tired of looking at." Those words should have destroyed her, should have sent her crying to the floor. Instead, Scarlett felt something cold and powerful rise in her chest. "Furniture?" She smiled. "All right, then you won't mind if this piece of furniture removes itself from your house. Rosanna has packed your things. They're by the door. My things? This is my house. Actually, if you check the deed, it's in both our names. And my lawyer says that gives me the right to ask you to leave temporarily while we sort out the divorce." "Divorce?" For the first time, Marcus looked genuinely shocked. "Scarlett, let's not be hasty. We can work this out. Couples therapy. I'll end things with Madison. You'll end things with Madison? How generous of you. How noble. You'll stop having sex with your 23-year-old assistant as a favor to me? She's 28. Oh, well, that makes it all better then. Marcus's phone rang. He answered it, his face going pale as he listened. What do you mean the accounts are frozen? On whose authority? He looked at Scarlett. You froze our accounts? My lawyer froze our joint accounts. Standard procedure in a divorce to prevent asset hiding. Though I'm sure you've already hidden plenty, haven't you? That's what you've been doing these last few months. Moving money around, preparing to leave me with nothing. How did you? Rosanna's been saving your receipts, your statements, every financial document you thought you threw away, every hotel receipt, every jewelry purchase, every dinner for two in cities where I wasn't with you. Marcus set down his phone slowly. You've been planning this. No, Marcus, you've been planning this. I just found out 3 hours ago, but unlike you, I don't need months of deception to end a marriage. I just need the truth. If you divorce me, you'll get nothing. The prenup. The prenup I signed when you were worth $50,000? The one that has an infidelity clause you insisted on, including because you were so sure I'd be the one to cheat? That prenup? His face went white. That's right, Scarlett continued. The infidelity clause you were so proud of. The one that says if either party cheats, they forfeit their claim to marital assets. Your lawyer was very thorough. I should send him a thank you note. You can't prove anything. I have screenshots of messages, credit card records, hotel receipts, and Rosanna took pictures of Madison's underwear in our bed last week when you thought I was at the spa. Would you like to see those? They're very artistic. She has a good eye for composition. Marcus sank into a chair. This is insane. 15 years of marriage and you're throwing it away over a mistake? A mistake. You've been planning to leave me for months. You've been sleeping with another woman for a year and a half. You've been lying to my face every single day. Which part was the mistake? I love you, Scarlett. No, you don't. You love what I represent. The devoted wife who makes you look good. The woman who gave up her career to support yours. The prop in your perfect life portrait. But me, the actual person, you don't even see me. That's not true. What's my favorite book? What? My favorite book. We've been married 15 years. What's my favorite book? Marcus stared at her blankly. My favorite restaurant, my best friend's name, the song I listen to when I'm sad, the dream job I gave up to support your career. Silence. You don't know anything about me, Scarlett said quietly. I'm just furniture, remember? And furniture doesn't have favorite books. Marcus stood up, his coffee-stained suit making him look pathetic. Fine. You want a divorce? You'll get it. But I'll destroy you in court. I have the best lawyers in the city. Actually, you have the second best. I have the best. Jeremy Blackwood sends his regards, by the way. He said to tell you he's been waiting for this case for years. Jeremy, he's my lawyer. Was your lawyer. Apparently, he doesn't like men who cheat on their wives. Something about his own father being a serial cheater. He took my case pro bono just for the satisfaction of destroying you. Marcus grabbed his briefcase and the bags Rosanna had packed. At the door, he turned back. You're making a mistake, Scarlett. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret is wasting 15 years on a man who thinks. Love is a transaction, and marriage is a business arrangement. Where am I supposed to go? Madison has a lovely apartment in Tribeca. I'm sure she'll be thrilled to have you full-time, though you might want to warn her that you snore, leave wet towels on the floor, and expect someone else to handle all the emotional labor in a relationship. Oh, and that you'll cheat on her too eventually. Men like you always do. Marcus slammed the door on his way out. Scarlett stood in her kitchen, surrounded by broken coffee mug pieces and splattered coffee, and waited to feel something. Sadness, regret, fear, but all she felt was relief. Like she'd been holding her breath for years and could finally exhale. Her phone rang. Her sister, Imani. I just saw Marcus leaving with suitcases. Are you okay? He's been having an affair with Madison, his assistant. I'm on my way over. Manny, I need to tell you something else. I think I might be pregnant. Silence on the other end. Then, what? I've been feeling sick for weeks, exhausted. I thought it was stress, but I took a test yesterday. I haven't looked at it yet. It's sitting in the bathroom drawer. I was going to surprise Marcus this weekend for our anniversary. Oh, honey, I can't look at it alone. Will you come? I'm already in my car. 20 minutes later, Imani was there, holding Scarlett's hand as they walked to the master bathroom. The test was where Scarlett had left it, face down in the drawer. Whatever it says, Imani said, we'll handle it together. Scarlett turned the test over. 2 pink lines, positive. Oh my God, she whispered. Okay, we can figure this out. You need to tell Marcus. Even if you're divorcing, he has a right to know. No. Scarlett. No, he made his choice. He chose Madison. He chose to lie and cheat and plan to leave me with nothing. He doesn't get to know about this. You can't hide a pregnancy, and he'll have parental rights. Not if he doesn't know the child exists. Scarlett, be realistic. Scarlett's hand went to her still flat stomach. He called me furniture, Manny. He said I was something he was tired of looking at. You think a man like that deserves to know he's going to be a father? 3 days later, Scarlett sat in Dr. Patel's office, staring at an ultrasound screen in complete shock. Quadruplets, Dr. Patel said again, as if saying it multiple times would make it easier to process. 4 babies. 2 identical boys here, and 2 identical girls here. That's not possible. It's rare, certainly. About 1 in 700,000 pregnancies. But with your fertility treatments and family history of twins, it's not impossible. 4 babies. Scarlett couldn't breathe. I can't. How do I? Mrs. Sterling, I know this is overwhelming, but you're healthy, the babies look good, and with proper care and monitoring, there's no reason you can't have a successful pregnancy. It's MS Rivers now. I'm getting divorced. I see. Do you have a support system? Scarlett thought about her empty house, her shattered marriage, her husband who was probably waking up in Madison's bed right now. I'll figure it out. With quadruplets, you'll need help. This is not something you can do alone. But alone was exactly what Scarlett was. The divorce proceedings were brutal. Despite the infidelity clause, Marcus's lawyers found every loophole, every technicality to drag things out. He'd hidden more money than Scarlett had realized, moved assets offshore, put property in shell companies. We can fight this, Jeremy Blackwood told her. But it'll take months, maybe years. I don't have years. Scarlett's hand went unconsciously to her stomach, now starting to show at 12 weeks. She'd been wearing loose clothes, avoiding anyone who might notice. Then we settle. You'll get the house, $5 million in cash, and monthly alimony. It's not what you deserve, but it's enough to start over. I'll take it. Marcus showed up for the final signing with Madison on his arm. She was even younger looking in person, all spray tan and veneers, wearing a dress that probably cost more than most people's rent. Scarlett, Madison said with false sweetness. I hope there are no hard feelings. Marcus and I, it just happened. You can't help who you love. You're right, Scarlett replied. You can't help who you love, but you can help who you betray. Enjoy him, Madison. And when he cheats on you, because he will, remember this moment. Madison's smile faltered. Marcus grabbed her arm. Let's go, baby. We have a plane to catch. Tokyo? Scarlett asked. How romantic. The same place you took me for our 5th anniversary. Does she know you're going to propose at the same restaurant where you proposed to me? Or that you probably bought her ring from the same jeweler? Marcus's face flushed. You're being pathetic. No, pathetic is a 42-year-old man having a midlife crisis with a woman young enough to be his daughter. Pathetic is throwing away a family for someone who's only interested in your money. Pathetic is thinking you can outrun your age by dating someone who wasn't alive when you graduated college. Come on, Marcus said to Madison, pulling her toward the door. We don't need to listen to this. Actually, Marcus, Scarlett called after him. One more thing. Your mother called. She's disowning you. Apparently she likes me better. She said, and I quote, I didn't raise my son to be a cliché. The door slammed behind them. Jeremy Blackwood looked at Scarlett with admiration. That was beautiful. It was necessary. What will you do now? Disappear. And that's exactly what Scarlett Rivers did. She sold the house within a week to a tech couple from California who paid cash. She packed what she needed, donated the rest, and bought a one-way ticket to Burlington, Vermont. Why Vermont? Because it was the opposite of New York. Because nobody knew her there. Because she'd seen a photo of a small town called Maple Grove that looked like the kind, a place where a woman could raise children without anyone asking about their father. She found a farmhouse on the outskirts of town. 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 6 acres of land with mountain views. It cost a fraction of what she'd gotten for the Manhattan townhouse. The rest of the money she invested carefully. $5 million properly managed could last a lifetime, even with 4 children. The town was exactly what she'd hoped for. Small enough that everyone knew everyone, but respectful enough of privacy that nobody pushed when she said she was divorced and starting over. The locals assumed her ex was some Wall Street type who'd left her for a younger woman. They weren't wrong. "You'll love it here," said Dorothy Chen, the realtor who became her first friend. "Maple Grove takes care of its own. And honey, anyone running from a man is welcome in my book." Scarlett set up a small architecture office in the barn behind the house. She didn't need much work, just enough to keep her skills sharp and her mind occupied. She designed homes for locals, renovated the library, created plans for a new community center, but mostly she prepared for the babies. 4 cribs in the nursery, 4 car seats, 4 of everything. The logistics were overwhelming, but she approached it like an architecture project. Systems, schedules, organization. At 20 weeks, another ultrasound confirmed what Dr. Patel in New York had said. 2 boys, 2 girls, all healthy. The local doctor, Dr. Morrison, was a grandfather of 12 who'd delivered half the babies in town. "Quadruplets," he said with a whistle. "Haven't seen those in 40 years of practice. You're going to need help, young lady." "I'll manage." "No, you won't. But lucky for you, this town doesn't let people manage alone." He was right. As Scarlett's pregnancy progressed and it became impossible to hide, the town rallied around her. Dorothy organized meal trains. The church ladies knitted enough baby clothes for an army. The local contractor, Tom Bradley, showed up one day with his crew and built a wheelchair ramp for when you're too pregnant to walk. "I can't pay for all this," Scarlett protested. "Nobody asked you to," Tom replied. "This is what we do. You're one of us now." At 32 weeks, Scarlett was put on bed rest. She was enormous, could barely move, couldn't sleep. But every time she felt the babies move, all 4 of them tumbling around like acrobats, she knew she'd made the right choice. Imani flew up from New York to help. She took one look at Scarlett and burst into tears. "You look like you swallowed a yoga ball." 4 yoga balls, actually. "How are you doing this without him?" "Because with him would be worse. Can you imagine Marcus dealing with 4 babies? He couldn't even remember to feed our goldfish." "These aren't goldfish, Scar. No, they're miracles, my miracles. And they're never going to wonder if their father loves them, because they're not going to know he exists. You can't hide them forever. Watch me." At 34 weeks, Scarlett's water broke at 3 in the morning. Not dramatically, not like in the movies, just a quiet pop and sudden warmth that told her life was about to change forever. "Manny," she whispered to her sister, sleeping on the couch nearby. "It's time." "Time for what?" "The babies are coming." What followed was controlled chaos. Imani drove through the Vermont countryside at speeds that definitely weren't legal while Scarlett tried to breathe through contractions that felt like her body was being torn in 4 directions. Which, technically, it was. Dr. Morrison met them at the hospital with a full team. 4 babies means we need all hands on deck. "Are you ready for this?" "Do I have a choice?" "Not really, no." "Then I'm ready." The C-section was scheduled for 7 a.m., but the babies had other plans. By 5:30, Scarlett was being wheeled into the operating room. "No husband?" One of the nurses asked gently. "No husband, just my sister." "Then your sister it is. Let's go meet your babies." At 6:14 a.m., Matthew Marcus Rivers was born, screaming his anger at the world. 4 pounds, 2 ounces of pure attitude. At 6:15 a.m., Michael Mason Rivers followed his brother, quieter but with eyes wide open, taking everything in. 4 pounds exactly. At 6:16 a.m., Emma Rose Rivers arrived, delicate as a bird but with a grip that could crack walnuts. 3 pounds, 8 ounces. At 6:17 a.m., Elizabeth Grace Rivers completed the set, the smallest. At 3 pounds, 5 ounces, but with lungs that could wake the dead. 4 perfect babies, Dr. Morrison announced. "Congratulations, Mama. You just did something extraordinary." Scarlett, exhausted and overwhelmed, could only cry as they placed each baby on her chest for a moment before whisking them to the NICU. "They're early but strong," the pediatrician explained. "A few weeks in the NICU, and they should be fine." Those few weeks were the longest of Scarlett's life. She lived at the hospital, pumping breast milk every 2 hours, holding each baby in turns, learning their different cries and personalities. Matthew was the fighter, always first to eat, first to cry, first to demand attention. Michael was the observer, quiet and contemplative, studying faces like he was memorizing them. Emma was the charmer, somehow managing to look adorable even with tubes and wires attached. Elizabeth was the determined one, smallest but fierce, gaining weight faster than her siblings through sheer willpower. "They're incredible," Imani said, watching all four sleep in their incubators. "They look just like—" "Don't say it." "But they do, especially the boys. They have his eyes. They have my eyes, my heart, my love. That's all they need." Tom Bradley and his crew had another surprise waiting when Scarlett finally brought all four babies home after 6 weeks in the NICU. They'd renovated the entire first floor to be baby-friendly. Wider doorways for the quad stroller, a feeding station with 4 bouncy seats, a changing table that could accommodate 2 babies at once. "How did you—" "The whole town chipped in," Dorothy said, tears in her eyes. "Welcome home, Scarlett. Welcome home, babies." Those first months were a blur. Scarlett survived on 2 hours of sleep a night, if she was lucky. The feeding schedule was military precise. Every 3 hours, all 4 babies needed to eat, which took an hour per feeding session. By the time she finished with Elizabeth, it was almost time to start with Matthew again. "You need help," Imani insisted during one visit when she found Scarlett crying over spilled breast milk at 3 a.m. "I can't afford help." "Then let the town help. Dorothy's been begging to babysit. Tom's wife Nancy is a retired pediatric nurse. Let people in, Scar." But slowly, reluctantly, Scarlett did. Dorothy came 3 mornings a week to watch the babies while Scarlett showered and did laundry. Nancy taught her tricks for handling multiple babies at once. The church ladies rotated bringing dinners, and somehow, against all odds, they survived the first year, then the second, then the third. By the time the quadruplets turned 3, Scarlett had found her rhythm. The babies were toddlers now, each with distinct personalities that made her laugh and cry in equal measure. Matthew was the leader, organizing his siblings into elaborate games and occasionally elaborate trouble. "Mama, we're pirates," he'd announce, having turned the living room into a ship made of couch cushions. Michael was the artist, always drawing, seeing colors and patterns everywhere. He'd spend hours with crayons and paper, creating abstract masterpieces that Scarlett framed and hung throughout the house. Emma was the performer, singing and dancing from morning to night. She'd put on shows for anyone who'd watch, curtsying dramatically at the end for applause. Elizabeth was the problem solver, figuring out how to climb out of her crib first, how to open the child-proof locks, how to negotiate extra cookies with devastating logic for a 3-year-old. "You've got your hands full," Dr. Morrison said during their checkup. "4 hands full," Scarlett agreed. "But I wouldn't change it. Any word from their father?" "What father?" "These children don't have a father. They have me, and that's enough." But late at night, when the children were asleep and the house was quiet, Scarlett sometimes wondered if she was being selfish. Did they have a right to know Marcus? Did he have a right to know them? Then she'd remember him calling her furniture, remember Madison's smug face, remember the prenup he'd tried to use to leave her with nothing, and her resolve would harden. He'd made his choice. She'd made hers. The architecture firm she'd started in her barn had grown beyond her wildest dreams. What began as small projects for locals had evolved into something bigger. Her design for the Maple Grove Community Center had won a regional award, then a state award, then a mention in Architectural Digest. Suddenly, everyone wanted a Scarlett Rivers design. But she was selective, only taking projects that inspired her that would make a difference. She specialized in community buildings, women's shelters, affordable housing that was both functional and beautiful. "You could be making millions," her business advisor Janet told her. "I have enough. More than enough. I have 4 children who need their mother present, not chasing money. But think of their future. I'm showing them that success isn't about wealth. It's about contribution. It's about creating beauty and function in spaces where people can thrive." By the time the quadruplets turned 4, Scarlett had built something remarkable. Her firm, Rivers Architecture, employed 12 people from the local community. She designed buildings across New England, each one featuring her signature style, organic, integration with the landscape, sustainable materials, and spaces that seemed to breathe. "Mama, are you famous?" Emma asked one day, seeing her mother's picture in a magazine at the grocery store. "No, sweetheart. I just design pretty buildings. Like our house? Like our house. Then you're famous to me." The children started pre-K at Maple Grove Elementary, all 4 in the same class, because Scarlett had fought the school board about separating them. They're quadruplets, she'd argued. They've never been apart. Separating them now would be traumatic, but wouldn't it be better for their individual development? They have their whole lives to be individuals. Right now they need each other. She won, of course. Scarlett had gotten very good at winning battles for her children. Their first day of school was documented by the local newspaper. Maple Grove's miraculous quadruplets start school. The headline read, with a picture of all four in their matching backpacks, but wildly different expressions. Matthew standing tall and protective, Michael hiding slightly behind him, Emma posing. Dramatically, Elizabeth looking directly at the camera with a challenging stare. "Do we have a daddy?" Michael asked that night at dinner, out of nowhere. Scarlett's fork froze halfway to her mouth. "Why do you ask, sweetheart?" "Tommy at school says everyone has a daddy, but we don't." "You have me. Isn't that enough?" "Yes," Emma said quickly. "You're the best mama ever. But why don't we have a daddy?" Elizabeth pressed, ever the logical one. Scarlett took a deep breath. She'd practiced this conversation 1,000 times in her head. Sometimes families look different. Some have a mommy and a daddy. Some have two mommies or two daddies. Some have grandparents. And some, like ours, have just a mommy who loves them more than all the stars in the sky. "Did our daddy die?" Matthew asked quietly. "No, baby. He couldn't be a daddy. Some people aren't ready for the responsibility of being a parent." "Was he mean?" Michael asked. "He was complicated." "I don't need a daddy," Elizabeth announced. "We have you and Aunt Manny and Nez Dorothy and everyone." "That's right," Scarlett said, relief flooding through her. "We have a whole town of people who love us." The conversation seemed to satisfy them, for now. But Scarlett knew harder questions would come as they got older. What she didn't know was that 3,000 miles away, Marcus Sterling was about to see a magazine that would change everything. It was a random Tuesday when Marcus's world tilted off its axis for the second time. He was in his office, or what was left of it. Sterling Industries had downsized dramatically after Madison Cross had been caught embezzling. Turned out the woman he'd destroyed his marriage for had been stealing from the company for years, using her position and their relationship to hide it. She'd disappeared to Brazil with $12 million and a new boyfriend, leaving Marcus to face the board, the FBI, and the IRS alone. He'd avoided prison, barely, but his reputation was destroyed. The company had been sold to competitors. He was now a consultant, a glorified freelancer, working out of a shared workspace in a building he used to own. "Mr. Sterling, your 3 o'clock canceled," his assistant said. Not his personal assistant. He shared her with 5 other consultants. "Fine, I'll review the Singapore files." But when he went to the break room for coffee, a magazine on the table caught his eye. New England Architecture Quarterly. Not his usual reading, but the woman on the cover looked familiar. Rising Star Scarlett Rivers, Building Beauty from Ashes, the headline read. His ex-wife stared back at him from the glossy cover, looking better than she had during their marriage. Confident, radiant, successful. He grabbed the magazine, his hands shaking slightly as he flipped to the article. There was Scarlett in her office, surrounded by awards. Scarlett at a construction site, hard hat on, directing workers. Scarlett at a gala, wearing a dress that made his throat tight with memory. And then, on the last page of the article, a photo that made him sink into a chair. Scarlett with 4 children. 4 identical-looking children. 2 boys, 2 girls, all with dark hair and distinctive green eyes. His green eyes. His mother's eyes. The eyes that had been in his family for generations. The caption read, "Rivers at home with her quadruplets, Matthew, Michael, Emma, and Elizabeth, age 5. Being a single mother to 4 has been my greatest adventure and my greatest achievement," she says. Age 5. Marcus did the math. Then did it again. Then once more because his brain refused to process what was obvious. If the children were 5, they were conceived 6 years ago. 6 years ago, he and Scarlett were still married. 6 years ago, right before she'd discovered his affair. Right before the divorce. "Oh my God," he whispered to the empty break room. "Oh my God." He pulled out his phone and called his lawyer. Not the expensive one he used to have, but the only one he could afford now. "I need you to look into something. My ex-wife, Scarlett Rivers. She has children, 4 children. I think they might be mine. Do you have any proof?" Marcus looked at the photo again. Matthew had his exact facial structure. Michael had the Sterling family nose. Emma had his mother's chin. Elizabeth had his stubborn expression. Just look at them. They're mine. They have to be mine. Visual similarity isn't legal proof. We'd need DNA testing. Then get it. That requires either her cooperation or a court order. Does she know you've discovered this? No. She hid them from me. For 5 years she hid my children from me. Alleged children. Mr. Sterling, I need to caution you. If you pursue this, and they're not yours, you could face harassment charges. And given your recent legal troubles, they're mine. I know they're mine. Find out everything you can about Scarlet Rivers and those children. It took 3 weeks for the investigator's report to come back. 3 weeks of Marcus obsessively studying every photo he could find online of the quadruplets. Their birth announcement in the Maple Grove Gazette. Their first day of school. Their mother's Instagram, which was mostly private but had a few public photos. The children were born in Burlington, Vermont, 7 months and 3 weeks after your divorce was finalized, the investigator reported. Full-term quadruplets are typically delivered at 34 to 35 weeks, which would put conception right around the time of your separation. She was pregnant during the divorce. She knew and didn't tell me. That appears to be the case. Birth certificates list no father. I want to see them. Mr. Sterling, I strongly advise against showing up unannounced. You need legal representation, but Marcus was already booking a flight to Vermont. The thing about small towns is that everyone knows everyone else's business. So when Marcus Sterling rolled into Maple Grove in his rental BMW, wearing his expensive suit and asking about Scarlet Rivers, word traveled fast. Dorothy Chen was the first to call Scarlet. There's a man in town asking about you. Expensive suit, desperate eyes. Says he's an old friend from New York. Scarlet's blood went cold. What does he look like? Tall, dark hair going gray, green eyes. Keep him away from the school. Scarlet, is this? It's my ex-husband. He can't know about the children. Honey, he's been showing their picture around. I think he already knows. Scarlet's legs gave out. She sank onto her office chair, phone trembling in her hand. Where is he now? The inn on Main Street. Tom's keeping an eye on him. I need to get the kids. Already done. Nancy picked them up and took them to her house. They think it's a play date. This was why Scarlet loved this town. They protected their own. What do I do, Dorothy? You face him, honey. Running only makes it worse. Scarlet called her lawyer, then Imani, then sat in her office trying to breathe. 5 years. She'd had 5 years of peace, of building a life, of protecting her. Children from a man who'd thrown them away before they were even born. The knock on her office door came at 4 p.m. Scarlet. She looked up at Marcus standing in her doorway, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. He looked older, tired. The confidence that had once radiated from him was gone, replaced by something desperate and hollow. Hello, Marcus. 4 children. You had 4 children and didn't tell me. I had 4 children after you divorced me. After you made it clear I was furniture, you were tired of looking at. They're mine. They're mine. I carried them. I birthed them. I've raised them alone for 5 years. They don't even know you exist. That's kidnapping. That's protecting them from a man who didn't want a family, who was too busy with his 23-year-old mistress to notice his wife was dying inside, who tried to leave her with nothing. I didn't know you were pregnant. Would it have mattered? Would you have chosen us over Madison? Marcus opened his mouth, then closed it. Exactly, Scarlet said. You'd already made your choice. I had a right to know. You had a right to be faithful. You had a right to be honest. You had a right to treat me with respect. You gave up all those rights when you decided Madison's body was worth more than our marriage. Where are they? Safe. I want to see them. No, they're my children. They're 4 human beings who don't know you, don't need you, and don't deserve to have their lives disrupted because you suddenly decided to care. I'll go to court. Go ahead. Explain to a judge how you cheated on your pregnant wife, divorced her while she was carrying quadruplets, and never once checked on her in 5 years. You hid them from me. I protected them from you. There's a difference. Marcus stepped into the office, and Scarlet saw something she'd never seen before. Tears in his eyes. Please, Scarlet. They're my children, my mother's grandchildren. Don't I deserve a chance to know them? Did I deserve to be cheated on? Did I deserve to be humiliated? Did I deserve to be told I was furniture? I was wrong. God, I was so wrong. But don't punish them for my mistakes. I'm not punishing them. I'm protecting them. They have a happy, stable life. They have a mother who adores them, a community that loves them, everything they need. Why would I let you disrupt that? Because every child deserves to know their father. No, every child deserves a father worth knowing. You're not that man, Marcus. You never were. I've changed. Have you? Are you still with Madison? She embezzled $12 million and disappeared to Brazil. Scarlett laughed. Actually laughed. So the woman you destroyed our marriage for was a criminal. How poetic. I lost everything. The company, the money, the reputation. Everything. Good. I've been in therapy. I've been working on myself. That's wonderful. Do it for yourself, not for my children. Our children? No, mine. You're just a sperm donor who happened to be there at conception. Marcus pulled out his phone, showing her a photo. This is my mother. Look at her eyes. Now look at this photo of the quadruplets. They have her eyes, my eyes, the sterling eyes that go back 6 generations. Genetics don't make you a father. Being there makes you a father. Midnight feedings make you a father. First words, first steps, first days of school, teaching them to tie their shoes and ride bikes and be kind to others. That's what makes you a father. And you've done none of it. Because I didn't know they existed. Because you were too busy destroying our marriage to notice I was pregnant. They stared at each other across the desk, years of hurt and anger and betrayal crackling between them. I'm staying in town, Marcus said finally. I'm going to petition the court for a DNA test and visitation rights. Do what you have to do. But know this, Marcus. If you hurt my children, if you confuse them or scare them or disappoint them the way you disappointed me, I will destroy you. And unlike you, when I make a threat, I follow through. Marcus left, and Scarlett called her lawyer. He's demanding a DNA test and visitation rights. He'll probably get the test. Visitation is trickier. Vermont courts prioritize the children's best interests. 5 years of absence doesn't look good for him. But he didn't know they existed. Because you didn't tell him. That doesn't look good for you. What should I do? Document everything. Show the court that the children are thriving without him. Make it clear that introducing him now would be disruptive. And Scarlett, consider mediation. It's better than letting a judge decide. That night, Scarlett sat her children down for the hardest conversation of their lives. Remember when you asked about your daddy? 4 heads nodded solemnly. Well, he's in town. He just found out about you and wants to meet you. Why didn't he know about us? Elizabeth asked, logical as always. Because when you were in my tummy, he decided he didn't want to be married to me anymore. He left before you were born. Did he not want us? Michael asked, his sensitive soul already hurting. He didn't know about you, baby. I didn't tell him. Why? Matthew demanded, protective of his siblings. Because I was scared. I was hurt, and I wanted to keep you safe. Is he nice? Emma asked. He's complicated. He made mistakes, big ones. But he's your biological father. What's biological? Michael asked. It means he helped make you. But being a father is more than that. It's about being there, loving you, taking care of you. Do we have to meet him? Elizabeth asked. No, you don't have to do anything you don't want to. But the court might say you should. What's court? It's where a judge, like a referee, makes decisions when adults can't agree. Are you and our biological father fighting? Matthew asked. We're discussing what's best for you. That night, after the children were asleep, Scarlett sat on her porch and cried. For 5 years, she'd built a perfect bubble for her children. Now Marcus was here to pop it. The next morning, she got a call from Tom Bradley. Your ex is at the diner showing everyone pictures and telling them he's the kid's father. Of course he is. Want me to run him out of town? That's kidnapping, Tom. Only if we get caught. Despite everything, Scarlett smiled. Thanks, but I'll handle this legally. But Marcus wasn't done. That afternoon he showed up at the elementary school. I'm Marcus Sterling, he told the principal. I'm the quadruplets' father. I'd like to see them. The principal, Mrs. Garrett, had been warned by Scarlett. I'm sorry, Mr. Sterling, but you're not on the authorized pickup list. They're my children. According to our records, they have no father listed. Unless you have legal documentation saying otherwise, I can't allow you access. Marcus left, but not before several parents saw him. By evening, the whole town knew that Scarlett Rivers' mysterious ex-husband was in town claiming to be the quadruplets' father. The court hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. Marcus had gotten his lawyer to fast-track it, claiming parental alienation. Scarlett dressed carefully that morning. Professional but not trying too hard. She wanted to look like what she was, a successful single mother who'd done just fine without Marcus Sterling. The children were with Nancy, who'd promised ice cream and movies to distract them from their mother's absence. "Don't let him take us away," Elizabeth had whispered that morning, clinging to Scarlett. "Never, baby. No one's taking you anywhere." The courthouse in Burlington was intimidating, all marble and mahogany and the weight of legal authority. Marcus was already there with his bargain basement lawyer. He looked desperate, which he was. All rise for Judge Patricia Hawthorne. Judge Hawthorne was in her 60s, with sharp eyes that missed nothing, and a reputation for putting children's welfare above all else. "We're here regarding the petition of Marcus Sterling for paternity testing and potential visitation, rights with the minor children known as Matthew, Michael, Emma, and Elizabeth Rivers. Mr. Sterling, you claim to be the biological father." "Yes, Your Honor. My ex-wife hid the pregnancy from me during our divorce. Miss Rivers, is Mr. Sterling the biological father?" Scarlett's lawyer stood. "My client neither confirms nor denies biological paternity. However, she asserts that Mr. Sterling abandoned his parental rights through his actions during the marriage dissolution. That's a legal determination for me to make, Counselor. Miss Rivers, why didn't you inform Mr. Sterling of the pregnancy?" Scarlett stood. "Your Honor, at the time of conception, Mr. Sterling was engaged in an extramarital affair. He initiated divorce proceedings, attempted to invoke a prenuptial agreement that would have left me with minimal resources, and stated explicitly that I was, quote, furniture he was tired of looking at. I made the decision to protect my unborn children from a man who had shown such callous disregard for his family." "That's emotional manipulation," Marcus's lawyer argued. "My client had a right to know." "Your client had a right to be faithful to his marriage vows," Scarlett's lawyer countered. "He chose instead to engage in an 18-month affair with his subordinate. That's irrelevant to parental rights. It's relevant to his character and judgment." Judge Hawthorne raised her hand for silence. "I'm ordering a DNA test to establish paternity. Once that's confirmed, we'll address visitation." "Your Honor," Scarlett's lawyer said, "we request a psychological evaluation before any visitation. These children have never known Mr. Sterling. Introducing him suddenly could be traumatic." "That's my fault?" Marcus burst out. "She hid them from me. Mr. Sterling, control yourself or I'll find you in contempt." "I apologize, Your Honor, but I've missed 5 years of my children's lives." "Through your own actions," Scarlett said quietly. "You chose Madison. You chose divorce. You chose to never once check on me after you left. Every choice you made led to this moment. I didn't know you were pregnant. You didn't care enough to ask." Judge Hawthorne looked between them. "I've heard enough. DNA test first. If paternity is established, we'll have a full hearing with a child psychologist present. The children's well-being is my only concern here." 2 weeks later, the DNA results confirmed what everyone already knew. Marcus Sterling was the biological father of the quadruplets. "Congratulations," Scarlett said bitterly as they left the courthouse. "You're officially what you always were, a sperm donor." "I'm their father." "No, you're their biological contributor. Father is a title you earn." The full custody hearing was scheduled for a month later. In the meantime, Judge Hawthorne ordered a psychological evaluation of the children and supervised visitation 1 hour per week at the court's family center. The night before the first visitation, none of the quadruplets could sleep. "What if he tries to take us?" Michael whispered from his bed. "He won't," Matthew said firmly. "I won't let him." "What if he's mean?" Emma asked. "Then we tell the supervisor," Elizabeth said practically. Scarlett sat on the floor between their beds. "Listen to me, all of you. No matter what happens, we're a family. We stick together, and I will never, ever let anyone take you from me. Understood?" "Promise?" Michael asked. "I promise on all the stars in the sky and all the fish in the sea." It was their special promise, the one that couldn't be broken. The first visitation was a disaster. Marcus showed up with expensive toys, trying to buy their affection. The children sat stiffly on a couch, staring at this stranger who claimed to be their father. "Hi," he said awkwardly. "I'm your dad." "No, you're not," Elizabeth said flatly. "You're our biological father." "There's a difference." Marcus looked stunned. The supervisor, a woman named Janet, made a note. "I brought you presents," he tried. "We don't need presents," Matthew said. "We have everything we need." "Everyone likes presents." "Mom says the best presents don't come in boxes, Emma recited. They come in time and attention and love. I want to give you those things too. Why now? Elizabeth asked. Why not before? I didn't know you existed. Mom says you didn't care enough to know. Another note from Janet. Marcus tried to engage them in play, but the children remained reserved, polite but distant. When the hour was up, they practically ran to Scarlett. How was it? She asked carefully. Weird, Matthew said. Sad, Michael added. Boring, Emma contributed. Inefficient, Elizabeth concluded. The supervised visits continued for 6 weeks. Each one was marginally better than the last, but the children remained guarded. They answered his questions politely, accepted his gifts without enthusiasm, and counted the minutes until they could leave. Janet's report to the court was damning. The children show no attachment to Mr. Sterling. They exhibit signs of stress before and after visits. While Mr. Sterling is trying, there's no natural bond. Forced continued interaction may be harmful rather than beneficial. The final custody hearing was on a cold November morning. The courtroom was packed. Half of Maple Grove had shown up to support Scarlett. Judge Hawthorne reviewed all the reports, then asked to speak to the children in her chambers. It was unusual but not unprecedented. Tell me about your life, she said gently. For 30 minutes the quadruplets told her about their home, their school, their friends, their mother who read them stories and taught them to build sandcastles and always kept her promises. And what about Mr. Sterling? He's sad, Michael said. He's trying, Matthew admitted. He's not mean, Emma offered. He's unnecessary, Elizabeth concluded. When they returned to the courtroom, Judge Hawthorne looked tired. This is a difficult case. Mr. Sterling, you were denied the opportunity to know your children existed. That's a serious matter. However, Ms. Rivers, your reasons for that decision, while understandable, don't entirely excuse it. Scarlett's heart sank. That said, my primary concern is the welfare of 4 or 5-year-old children who have known only one parent their entire lives. The psychological reports indicate that forced visitation is causing them distress. They have explicitly stated they don't want a relationship with Mr. Sterling at this time. Marcus stood up. Your Honor, please. They're my children. Biologically, yes, but parenthood is more than DNA. It's presence, consistency, sacrifice. Ms. Rivers has been all of that for these children. You, through no initial fault of your own, have not. So I lose them forever? I'm ordering the following. Mr. Sterling will have the right to send letters, cards, and gifts. When the children are older, if they choose to initiate contact, that door remains open. But for now, forced visitation ends. Ms. Rivers retains full custody. The courtroom erupted. Scarlett's supporters cheered. Marcus collapsed in his chair. This isn't over, his lawyer said. We can appeal. But Marcus wasn't listening. He was staring at Scarlett and the 4 children who'd just walked in to join their mother. Can I at least say goodbye? He asked the judge. Judge Hawthorne looked at Scarlett, who nodded slightly. Marcus approached slowly, kneeling to their level. I know you don't understand why I wasn't there. I don't fully understand it myself. But I want you to know that I'm sorry. And if you ever want to know me, really know me, I'll be waiting. Elizabeth, always the bold one, stepped forward. Will you stop making our mom sad? Yes. Will you stop trying to take us away? Yes. Then maybe, when we're older, we can talk. The other 3 nodded agreement. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. I'll wait, as long as it takes. He stood, looked at Scarlett one last time. I'm sorry, for everything. You did an amazing job with them. I know. He walked out of the courthouse and out of their lives, at least for now. That night, Scarlett tucked her children into bed with extra care. Are you okay, Mama? Michael asked. I'm perfect, baby. We're all perfect. Will he really wait? Matthew asked. I don't know, but that's his choice to make, not ours to worry about. I'm glad he's gone, Emma said. He made everything complicated. Sometimes complicated things help us appreciate the simple things, Scarlett said. Like us? Elizabeth asked. Exactly like you. As she turned off their light, Matthew called out, Mom? Yes, baby. You're not furniture. You're the whole house. Scarlett's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, sweetheart. And houses don't need decorations to be homes, Elizabeth added. They just need love. When did you all get so wise? We learned from you, they said in unison. 2 years passed. Scarlett's architecture firm grew into one of the most respected in New England. The quadruplets thrived, each developing their unique talents. Matthew became captain of his Little League team. Michael's art was featured in a children's gallery. Emma got the lead in the school play. Elizabeth won the state science fair for her age group. Marcus kept his word. He sent birthday cards and Christmas gifts. He didn't push, didn't show up, didn't try to force his way into their lives. The cards were simple. Thinking of you. Love, Marcus. Sometimes Scarlett wondered if he'd really changed, or if this was just another long game. But mostly, she didn't think about him at all. Then, on the quadruplets' 7th birthday, something shifted. "Mom," Elizabeth said, holding his card. "I want to write him back." "Are you sure?" "I have questions. I'm old enough for answers." The others agreed. So Scarlett helped them write a letter. Simple, childlike, but honest. "Dear biological father, thank you for the birthday cards. We have questions. Why did you cheat on Mom? Why did you pick Madison over us? Are you sorry? Do you have new kids now? Sincerely, Matthew, Michael, Emma, and Elizabeth." Marcus's response came 2 weeks later, handwritten on simple stationery. "Dear Matthew, Michael, Emma, and Elizabeth, your questions are fair. I cheated because I was selfish and weak. I didn't pick Madison over you because I didn't know you existed, but I did pick her over your mother, which was the biggest mistake of my life. I am sorry every single day. I don't have new kids, I don't have anyone. I just have regrets and hope that someday you might forgive me. Love, Marcus." "That's sad," Michael said after Scarlett read it to them. "Good," Emma said. "He should be sad." "Do you forgive him, Mom?" Matthew asked. Scarlett thought about it. "I forgive him for my own peace, but forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. Can we meet him?" Elizabeth asked. "Just once, to see." Scarlett's instinct was to say no, but she looked at her children, growing older, deserving of their own choices. "When you're 10, she said, "if you still want to, we can arrange one meeting. 3 more years. 3 more years to prepare for the possibility of Marcus Sterling re-entering their lives. 3 more years to make sure her children were strong enough to handle disappointment if he let them down. But that's a story for another day. For now, Scarlett Rivers sat in her beautiful home, surrounded by her 4 miraculous children, successful in her career, supported by her community, and realized something profound. She'd thought Marcus had destroyed her all those years ago, but he'd actually freed her to become who she was meant to be. A mother, an architect, a survivor, a thriver. The woman in the mirror wasn't the one Marcus had called furniture. She wasn't the one who'd thrown dirty underwear in Madison's office. She wasn't even the one who'd fought him in court. She was someone entirely new, someone entirely herself. And that was the greatest revenge of all. As she tucked her children into bed that night, Elizabeth asked one more question. "Mom, do you think people can really change?" Scarlett kissed her forehead. "I think people can choose to be better. Whether that's the same as changing, I don't know. But I know this, we can't control whether other people change. We can only control whether we grow. Have you grown, Mama?" "Every single day, baby. Every single day." The house settled into quiet. 4 children sleeping peacefully. One mother standing guard over their dreams. And somewhere in New York, a man holding on to hope that his choices to be better might someday matter. But that was his journey to make. Scarlett's journey was here, in this house full of laughter and chaos and love. She'd built it without Marcus Sterling. She'd filled it without his money or influence or approval. She'd done it all as herself. Scarlett Rivers, single mother, successful architect, survivor. And that was more than enough. It was everything. Remember, if you've stayed with this story until the end, you're someone who believes in the power of redemption and growth. Like this video if you believe people can change. Share it if you know someone who needs to hear that leaving isn't giving up, it's growing up. And subscribe to Love and Twilights with Dr. Phillips, because every week we share stories that remind you that your worth isn't determined by who stays or leaves, but by who you choose to become. What would you have done in Scarlett's position? Would you have told Marcus about the pregnancy? Would you have given him a chance sooner? Or would you have protected your children the way she did? Let me know in the comments below. Your stories inspire our stories. Until next time, remember, you're not furniture in someone else's life. You're the architect of your own destiny. Build something beautiful,